local government. So, but today we're going to be going over introduction, why choose Cisco Meraki. We're going to dive into a live demo where I'll be going over the full Meraki stack. We'll also talk about the Meraki solution and next steps for after the webinar today and contacting your sales rep and getting started with a Meraki trial. So a little bit about Cisco Meraki. So we are Cisco's cloud managed portfolio. We have everything from wireless access points to firewalls to switching to mobile device management, cameras, as well as one of our newer products called Meraki Insight, which we'll be diving into and showing that in the dashboard today as well. So we're the leader in cloud managed IT. We're among Cisco's fastest growing portfolios. We have about 250,000 unique customers, 3.5 million Meraki devices online, and 5.5 million active Meraki dashboard users. So pretty amazing stuff. I remember when I first started at Meraki, which was a couple years ago, we only had a couple of active users, and that's grown immensely since being a part of Meraki since 2016. So just to kind of give you an overview of our out-of-band cloud management, we're intuitive, scalable, reliable, and secure. Third-party security audits, daily penetration testing. We have automatic firmware and security updates. So a common question is, what happens if the internet goes offline? What happens to my network? So your APs and your switches and your entire network will continue to work and function. The only thing that you won't be able to do is you won't be able to make any kind of configuration changes. If you want to learn a little bit more about our reliability and security information, feel free to pop at on our website, meraki.cisco.com/trust, and we have information there about our data centers as well as the 99.99% uptime SLA. So why choose Meraki? So a couple of key things for Meraki in the K-12 space is being able to scale quickly. So if your school ends up growing, you have more students on campus, being able to clone that switch configuration, so you don't need to go ahead and configure that. Another thing that's huge in this space is digital learning. I'm sure everyone has talked about this in their board meetings, but bringing your own devices and that one-to-one learning initiative, having all of these new devices on campus, how are you going to be able to manage those? Not only do you need some kind of an MDM to manage those devices, but you also need the network infrastructure to back that up. So with the increase of devices and student devices, we need to have the network infrastructure to back that up and to support that. Also analytical decisions. So taking data and using that data to create decisions and make decisions for the school. So for example, with our camera solution, we've actually had school districts with our outdoor cameras put them in place on the playground and analyze the times when kids are in a certain area during recess, and have used that to make a decision, okay, we need to have another supervisor in that area of the playground because we're seeing that a lot of kids are congregating over there, and maybe that's going to be the safest decision for the children. So using those kinds of analytics with the technology that we have to offer. And then lastly, security and compliance. So being very secure with the network, making sure that children are not accessing sites that they're not supposed to, as well as breaking things down, providing a safe and secure learning environment is our #1 priority for children in the K-12 space, as well as protecting data and complying with security regulations. So some of the key challenges that we see with school districts, and I'm sure everybody knows this, but managing more devices, every time students they have computers, they have cell phones, they have tablets, as well as game consoles, and the number keeps going up and up, as well as keeping the network secure. So IT security is huge, and it's only continuing to become a key priority with IT professionals in the K-12 space, as well as doing a lot more with technology and only having a certain amount in the budget for those projects. So understanding, we know that you guys don't have a lot of resources as far as budget goes. It happens once a year. We understand the process of, applying for E-rate and getting everything budgeted by October so that by July 1, you can move forward with what you need to do for the following year. So with Meraki, just being able to deploy switches and APs very quickly, saving you time and money, as well as keeping it simple for you. So you don't have to pour into a lot of resources into your network. You have your network secure, you have it up and running, and you can focus your energy, money, and time on maybe those e-learning initiatives that you need to do that the board meeting or that the board has talked about. So again, doing more with finite IT resources. So Meraki for primary education IT teams. So we provide high density APs and products. So having high performing wireless without the high maintenance, you don't need to have a team of 10 to run the Meraki equipment. I know a lot of my customers are wearing multiple different hats. They're the IT directors, they're the PE teachers, and also they're driving the bus after school. So having that, having multiple hats and not having a lot of time, with the Meraki solution, you can pull up your app and manage your network without having to have a huge team of 10. Safety and security. So we keep our students and teachers safe with options ranging from perimeter network security to physical campus security. So with our firewalls all the way up to our cameras, keeping the kids and the teachers safe is one of our biggest priorities, as well as built-in tools. So the Meraki equipment is very easy to use. It's very intuitive. You have your out-of-box analytics and tools to make sure that you're delivering the best-in-class IT to the students. And then lastly, device management. So being able to manage all of those BYOD devices or one-to-one iPads. We cover iOS, Android, Mac, and PC devices from a single pane of glass dashboard, making your one-to-one program something that is a reality. And then lastly, so high-density wireless without the high maintenance. So this is, again, what I was speaking to before. You don't need to go to every single AP physically. Now with the Meraki dashboard, you can actually pull the dashboard up on your phone and deploy the AP, configure the AP, troubleshoot what's going on with the access point from your phone. And you don't need to go across campus or go to the building physically. You can do that all in the comfort of your phone or your laptop. So it takes the piece of I need to physically go troubleshoot something to I can now manage everything in one place remotely. So saving you time, basically. Another thing is solutions that keeping your students and teachers safe. So we have something called threat protection. So blocking unwanted software before it even reaches the network, and we'll go through that in the security appliance piece. We also have something called intrusion detection. So seeing, wireless SSID spoofing and detecting that and then blocking that, as well as video cameras. So being able to set up your video cameras in a very simple way and monitor what's going on campus, and being able to send that to maybe a first responder that needs to see what's going on campus as they're responding to an incident. And tools that help deliver best-in-class IT. So automation, so simplifying troubleshooting and configuration. And you're going to see this when I show you in the network topology page. But basically, with our network and our solution, you don't necessarily have to keep a topology page up to date anymore. We're going to do that for you. So every time you plug in an AP, a camera, a switch, it's going to automate for you. That way you can see what's connected to what on the dashboard. Another thing with automation is the switch clone configuration. So you configure a switch, you need to make that configuration across another 100 switches across the campus. Then what you can do is clone that configuration and with a click of a button easily deploy that across all of those 100 switches. And then the Meraki dashboard, obviously this is the single pane of glass. This is where you're going to manage and configure everything, and it enables school districts of any size to really scale as much as they need to scale. So as far as launching one-to-one learning initiatives, our mobile device management, you can cover everything from iOS, Android, Mac, PCs. We actually have a partnership with Apple. So anytime a new iOS device comes out, we know about it in advance. Cisco has a partnership with Apple, so we actually can build our MDM to match that. But we also cover other devices outside of Apple, like Android and PC devices. So the powerful thing about the MDM solution is that you can push software updates, remove or add different applications, block content, locate lost or stolen devices, all in a couple clicks within the dashboard, and that's in our systems manager, which is our mobile device management software piece. And you can also update all of the student devices at one time and allow teachers to access different content for different students and keep track of school-owned devices with the MDM. So these are just some of the schools that we've worked with across the U.S., some of the K-12 schools, so Columbus City Schools, Rainbow Schools, Wild Rose, Wayne Highlands, which is what we're going to talk about today, and Avenues, the World Schools. So the list goes on, but these are just some of the schools that we've worked with. So just to give you an idea, with Wayne Highlands School District, it's a northeastern Pennsylvania school. It has about 2,600 students, 500 teachers. They needed to deploy a one-to-one iPad initiative for the students. They also needed to have some kind of network infrastructure that supported homework being done in the classroom, as well as easy management, so less time managing the network. So what they ended up doing was they deployed a full-stack Meraki network with 320 APs, 65 different switches, a security appliance, as well as MDM, or MDM licenses to support those one-to-one iPad initiatives. So now I'm going to hop into the dashboard demo here. So this is what you're going to see when you first log in to the Meraki dashboard. So just to kind of give you an idea here, so these are all of our clients throughout the past day. You can see we have 2,381 client devices. We also have applications here. We can click on that and see which applications are being run on the network. And just to kind of give you an idea, on the left-hand side, this is what it would look like to have a full Meraki stack. It looks like we've actually put the firewall in a separate organization. So under Network Meraki San Francisco, this is the San Francisco network that we're looking at right now. So this is what our network looks like that supports the Meraki San Francisco office network. If you drop down here, you can see that these are all of the different other networks that we have for our other offices. So we have Sydney, London, Chicago, and just to give you an idea, again, taking out that piece of having to physically manage a network, I'm based out of San Francisco, and I can easily go into Chicago, for example, and look into their network and manage and configure their network. So again, the idea of having a simple network that's powerful that you can manage remotely without having to physically be on site to configure a switch, to plug into a switch, or to take a look at an access point is huge. This is going to save you so much time, and for a lot of K-12 schools, this is really important because, again, what I mentioned before, a lot of my customers are wearing multiple hats here, and it just gives you the ability to do that, to wear multiple hats and to manage a network of the school. So going back in here, so clients, we're in the client devices. I'm going to go ahead and type myself here. So this is my computer, and just giving you an idea here. I'm attached to this access point right here. I can see where I lie in the topology of the network. We're going to dive into the topology in a moment here. I have Systems Manager up on my computer. If I needed to block this particular device, I can go in here and put them, in a blocked setting, or I can go ahead and put them in a certain group policy. So maybe this student has, been on Facebook a little too much. We need to have them see IT. It's been a problem in the classroom. We're going to put them in the block Facebook category and save it. And then this student needs to come and talk to the principal before they can get out of this block Facebook group. As far as applications, you can see what's being accessed on this computer. Right now, the things that are grayed out, it's because I'm not a network administrator, and that's why you can't see exactly which application. But if I were, you would have access to that information. So yeah, just showing you, we're going to dive into Systems Manager, the MDM, in a moment here. So just to show you where I lie in the topology of the network, so this is the topology page. You can access it through network-wide topology. And you can see, this is my MAC address here. I am located, and we can scroll down, and we're going to see where I'm located by. Everything is grayed out, and where my device rolls up to the network, it's going to be highlighted. So you can see this is the access point I'm connected to. It's an MR30H. I can dive into that AP if I want to. Then we can see this is where the switch that I'm connected to, and it's connected to this switch closet, which is connected to this core switch all the way out to the internet here. And the dots are APs, the squares are switches, these are our phones, and you can see these are our cameras here. And let's see, if I delete this MAC address, now I can see everything on my network. So I can see for troubleshooting, this is very helpful because I can just log into my network topology, go and check out, oh, I have two things that are offline. Click on that, and then, okay, I need to address what's going on with this AP. It's been unreachable, and also this switch. This has also been unreachable. So now I can dive into those two pieces of hardware and troubleshoot from there. This is something that only comes with our switches, and just to also a note here, these little diamonds, these are actually Cisco Catalyst switches. So it will recognize pieces of equipment that aren't a part of the Meraki network or dashboard, but you just won't be able to dive in like you can with the Meraki equipment. So moving on, I'm going to go ahead and go back to the clients page here. I'm going to go into the AP. So now I'm in the access point that my AP or my device is connected to. So you can see the MAC address of the AP. You can see this is an MR30H, which is actually a really great AP for like dorm room situations. And so you can see the radius, DNS, DHCP, ARP info summarized there. We can also go into the switch that this AP is connected to. We can take a look at ports and click on those ports. As far as tools go, these are our different tools. So we can ping the AP, run or blink the LED light of the access point, run a throughput test. This RF situation here at the top, this is where we can do some wireless troubleshooting. So as you can see, these little dots here, these are just details on what happened in this event with this point of time for the past day. I can also change this for the past 2 hours, last week, last month. And then I can click into these details here and get more info. And if there were any meshing neighbors with this access points, with this AP, it would show up down here. As far as SSIDs go, these are the 2 SSIDs that the AP is broadcasting. You can see we have other SSIDs available as well, but they're not broadcasting. This AP is not broadcasting those SSIDs. Where we would go and create SSIDs is in this Configure SSID section. So I'm going to show you SSIDs, firewall, and traffic shaping on the access point level as well, and then we'll switch over into switches. So these are the different SSIDs that I have created on my AP. You can see I have 4. I can make up to 15 if I want to show all of them. These are all of them that I have here. I'm going to go ahead and go into one that maybe we haven't created yet. So I'm going to create a new SSID. So let's do it actually on unconfigured SSID 11. So it's as easy as selecting enable. Then I'm going to rename it. And I'm going to name this maybe students. And now I'm going to go ahead and edit the settings. So I'm leaving the page. I'm going to go ahead and edit these settings. So I am going to make sure that, this is where you change it from open to maybe a pre-shared key. They're going to have to sign on with Meraki authentication, but we can also change this. So if you guys have Radius servers, you can have them sign on with their Radius server authentication, or your Facebook Wi-Fi credentials, different things like that. We can also have them click through a splash page, and you can create a splash page in this section here and configure. And just going through, we can change it from NAT mode to bridge mode, and maybe we do want VLAN tagging here. And let's see. So just to give you an idea of how to configure an SSID. So now we're going to dive into how do you shape the traffic on the AP level. So what we're doing is we're actually shaping the traffic on the SSID. So we're going to pick an SSID from the list. Let's say, we configured SSID 11, but because I'm not a network administrator, I couldn't make any changes there. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And now I'm going to go ahead and block applications. So remember, we named this one students. So I'm going to go ahead and add a layer 7 firewall rule to this SSID. So I'm going to say no peer-to-peer. I'm going to completely block all peer-to-peer sharing on this SSID. So what you can do here is you can either pick one of these from the drop-down, or you can pick the generalized all peer-to-peer, and it will block those sites. You can also go ahead and say maybe from a country, or maybe gaming, and select a specific game. But this is where you would do it on a specific SSID. And also we can go ahead and shape the traffic too, so we can throttle the bandwidth down. So let's say we want to shape the traffic on this SSID. We're going to create a new rule. We're going to do maybe games, and you know what? We don't want to block them from using, let's say PlayStation. We don't want to block them from using it, but we're going to make it very slow. So we are going to choose a limit here, and we're going to go ahead and drop that down. So now we just went ahead and created that rule. And you can actually prioritize those rules once you make a second rule here. That's another thing with the Meraki equipment, is that you can prioritize lists, prioritize what's going to be the most helpful for you as far as list goes and what you want to look at. So for example, if I go back to network-wide clients page, and this is something I kind of forgot to show in the beginning, but see this little plus mark here? This is where you can go ahead and select what's important to you. So maybe we want to see what they're connected to, and we want to see the VLAN as well. So that's an example of creating and adjusting to have the Meraki equipment meet what you need it to meet. So we're going to now transition over to switching. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the switch section, show you what virtual stacking is, and then we'll dive into our firewall, and then we'll go into the rest of the network here. If you have any additional questions on anything that you see today, feel free to give your sales rep a call. We know this is an extremely busy time for you. It's, the beginning of your fiscal year, and we're happy to jump on an additional phone call, answer any questions you have on any of the equipment that you see today. So for the switching, this is where you're going to get information on what's going on with your switches right off the bat, all of your 138 switches, what's happening. So we can see I have one that's offline. We don't have any that are alerting my attention, so that's good. All of my 135 switches are online. That's great. I have 2 that are dormant. Again, what I mentioned before, using this little lever, I can see, okay, which one I want to see layer 3 routing. I also want to see stack and number of ports and number of active ports. So I just changed what I'm viewing. So we can see that. Let's go into one of the switches. Just want to show you how easy it is as far as it's pretty much the same layout as everything else. So we dove into the APs. It's the same kind of layout for the access points. So this is switch closet 2-1-1. We can see the MAC address here as well as the type of switch. So it's one of our MS350-48 full power switch. You can see these are all of our different ports. We're going to go into port configuration in a moment here. But these little electrical bolts, that means that it's a PoE port. And let's see, we can see all the clients connected. We can see the route and which core switch it's connected to, the serial number, the tag of the switch. If we go into tools, same kind of format as the access points. These are all of our tools. As far as event log goes, these are all the event logs that happened. And power, we have two different power supplies, so slot 1, slot 2, and then we can see the PoE budget for each slot and the consumption. And then again, the ports of the switch here and what's going on with those ports. So now I'm going to dive into switch port configuration. So these are all of our switch ports across every single switch that we have on the network. The key thing about Meraki and the beauty of Meraki is that what we can do is we can configure different switch ports across different switch closets. So for example, let's say I need to configure my VoIP phone, all the ports that are connected to VoIP. So I'm going to go ahead and type in VoIP here, or maybe voice. So these are all of my switches that have voice VLANs here, and all my switch ports that have voice VLANs. So you can see it's quite a bit. Now I need to make a configuration change to all of these different ports. I'm going to go ahead and select all of them, then click Edit. And now what I can do is I can go ahead and update by changing the configuration of those ports all at once. So for example, let's say I need to add a tag, or I need to make a change here, or create a port schedule, maybe an energy saving schedule that I've created, and apply that to all those ports. Add my voice VLANs, add maybe access policy here. So this is where you're going to configure, this is how you can configure different ports across different switches. So this is huge. This gives you the ability to quickly change what you need to change across different areas of the network. So now all we do is select Update 200 ports, and then we're done. So it's simple as that. The other thing you can do is you can do mirror, or unmirror, split, and this is what's going to give you the ability to clone those switch configurations, which is also a huge time saver for you. So that just is a little background on the switches themselves, some of the key things that we offer for switching. I'm going to go ahead and go into the firewall now. So I'm going to show you the Meraki San Francisco Security Firewall, which we've broken out into a different organization. So we've now gone into that organization. We'll go back to the main San Francisco network. But you can see left-hand side, we have the security appliance. I'll also dive into Insight while we're in this section as well. This is our newer product. Basically what Insight does is it takes the data from the security appliance and uses that to determine to help you troubleshoot where you can find application problems in the network. So either it's coming from the ISP, or it's coming from the WAN, or it's coming from your network. So this is where you're able to differentiate, okay, my issues are coming from the WAN, and then now I can dive in, get my evidence, and now I can go to my WAN provider and say, hey, this is happening, what can we do to fix it? So it gives you evidence and helps you identify where the problem is coming from. And this is huge. One of my colleagues helped this school with their deployment, and this is something that's going to be really important for them when for this upcoming year when they have testing and all of that, because all of it is done online now, helping troubleshoot any application errors that come up. So it's huge. So as far as the security appliance goes, so we're in application status here. So just like with everything else, like the switch, like the access point, set up in a very similar way. So you have your live data. Here, these are our ports, our connectivity, the historical data for the last day. We can look up the power supplies, the uplink, the DHCP, and then go into tools, so running tools on the MX. As far as, we'll go into traffic shaping and threat protection here. Very similar to how we just did the traffic shaping on the SSID level. So again, this is how you do it on the but this time we're doing it on the security appliance level. So we're going to go in here. This is where you would add your internet traffic flow preferences. This is where you go ahead and create traffic shaping rules. You can see we have some already done here. As far as site-to-site VPN. So, and then we'll go into content filtering as well. So content filtering, here I'll just go into that right now. Content filtering, very similar to how we did it on the SSID level. We just go ahead and look up a tool here. Let's say we want to block abortion, we want to block all of these different sites here. If we want to enter a specific URL, we can go ahead and do that as well. And then setting up a site-to-site VPN is very simple. So it's easy. What's going to happen is it's going to show up when you plug it in as off, and all you have to do is select either hub or spoke. The other thing with the security appliance here is in the security center. So we have two different licenses with the security appliance. We have a advanced security license, so that's going to give you the content filtering, the AMP protection, and the traffic shaping and things like that. That's with the advanced security license, and the enterprise security license will just give you the ability to do the site-to-site VPNs. But the security center is pretty amazing. We're able to block, and you can see where the traffic is coming from, which country, and how we've blocked it. So, and which threats are coming in. And you can take a look at that in our security center. So that's something that is a part of the MX security appliance. And so, and then on top of that, what I just described with the Insight, Meraki Insight, so these are the web applications. You can see Box, Google Drive, Windows Office. There's obviously something going on with the LAN here. And so now what we can do is we can go in there, we can view the trends, and now we can see what's going on here. So let's go into LAN. So there's insufficient application usage for performance measurement. So the request count is too low. So now I can go and say, hey, this is happening. Let's try to fix this. What can we do this is affecting my Box application. So it's huge as far as running applications go. You can also add different web applications by configuring web applications, add those in. You can add specific ones as well that maybe aren't on here. So that's what our Meraki Insight can do. And that's something that sits on top of the security appliance. So now I'm going to quickly hop back into Meraki San Francisco. I have a couple of last things that I want to show you, the systems manager and the cameras. So quickly with the MDM, let's go back to clients here. I'm going to search my name so you can see what it looks like on my profile. So if we go into Systems Manager, these are the details of my specific laptop here. You can see the location that I'm in. So this is our San Francisco office. There has been a geofencing policy that has been applied to this particular device, and it is compliant. These are all of the security policies that are on my laptop. We can also see here the model, the serial number, the warranty. We can go down and look at different live tools, so mobile security. Maybe we need to change the password, lock the device. We can also take a screenshot of the screen, do remote desktop, power control. These are all of our live tools here. We can also take a look at the connection log and what is going on with this particular device, as well as my activity log, things like that. So as far as Systems Manager devices, I'm going to go ahead and log in there. Exactly how the list of APs and switches, you're seeing a pattern now. Our device list is set up in the exact same way. So let's say I want to select something and maybe reboot this device or send a notification, install the available OS update, maybe request a check-in. And we can do that with all of them if we just select the top here. Very similar to how we configure the switches or the switch ports. We can run a command. We can also tag all of these devices or add a location to all of these devices as well. So as far as add device, we would just go ahead and click add devices. And let's go ahead and configure one of the policies now. If we go into settings here, these are all the settings that I've configured. I'm going to go ahead and add a profile, and I'm going to say, let's do supported on Apple, or actually I'll do device profile default. So I'm going to continue, then I'll go ahead and fill out this information. I'm going to add a setting, and let's say I have Android or maybe Apple. Then I'm going to go ahead and create, these are all the different settings that you can go ahead and create. And I'm going to go ahead and do restrictions. And now you can see, I'm going to uncheck the allow the use of the camera. We don't need the students to be taking selfies in class. Let's say I'm going to take away FaceTime. And so that's how you would go ahead and take off those specific applications. And then lastly, as far as apps go, so these are all of the different apps that I have. If I want to add an app, I'm going to go to either a custom app or let's say the App Store. I'm going to go to the app store here. Let's say I wanted to add Facebook. I would go ahead and select that. And then I would go ahead and select all of these iPads here and then push it. So that's how I would go ahead and do that. And going back to, I'm going to show one more thing on the geofencing side, just because I think it's kind of a cool feature that we offer. This is where you're going to go ahead and create a geofence for the BYOD devices or for devices that you supply for the students. So for example, I'm going to add a new device. Let's say I want to name that students. Actually, I'm going to go back really quickly. I'll show one that's already been done. So now I can go ahead and if I want to change the perimeter or this radius, I can go ahead and change that. And then if a student goes outside of that radius with the device, you're going to get a notification saying this student has exited the geofence. Or you can also configure certain policies where when they're outside of the geofence, certain things are available to them versus when they're in the geofence. So lastly, I want to go ahead and show cameras. So we just came out with a new series of indoor cameras called the MV12. So we have a wide, we also have a narrow angle as well. And the cameras store the footage on the cameras themselves. So you don't need an NVR, you don't need a DVR, and you can export the footage directly from the dashboard. You can also give your superintendents access to everything, and it's very easy to give certain people access to certain cameras in the alerts and administration page, where you're going to, create different alerts for yourself. When a switch goes down, when something goes down, you'll be alerted. So it's very easy to manage the cameras and have other people monitoring the cameras. You can also monitor them through your phone. So quickly, we'll go through this and then we'll wrap things up for today. As far as connectivity goes, it's very easy to figure out, hey, are all of my cameras online? Are they connected? Are they working? As you can see here, that is true. All of ours are connecting. And we can also see here, as far as schedule, we have some of them scheduled to only be on from 9 to 5 on weekdays. Other ones are always on. So let's go ahead and dive into one of the cameras. We'll do this one, the stairwell camera. So this is one of our newer cameras. It's an MV12. So one of the main features of the camera solution is something called motion search. So you can select motion search, and let's say we want to know what happened in this area. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it. And now I'm going to get the timestamps of everything and anything that happened in this selected area. So now, instead of having to go through and sift through a bunch of unwanted video, you're going to get that playback of everything that happened in that square that I highlighted. So saving you time. Again, keeping it simple. That's our main goal at Meraki, and our mission is to simplify things for you. So this is another way of how we've demonstrated so via the camera solution. As far as settings go, this is where I go ahead and adjust the video settings and the quality and the retention. So as far as retention goes, depending on the settings, you can go up to 90 days of video storage on the camera. So this is where you go ahead and edit that. Right now I have all of my settings to have 21 days of estimated retention, but if I change this, this number will go up or down. So as you can see, I just changed the video resolution to 720p, and it went up to 85 days. As far as demos and trials, we have all of that available, and your sales rep would be happy to get you set up on a trial of the camera. As far as other things go, like organization, your licenses, so as far as licenses go, for every AP switch, same with camera, you need to have a license that goes along with that. And what's included in that licensing are the lifetime warranty, as well as the 24/7 support that we have, and we really pride ourselves on our support here and what we do with support. So our support team is separate than Cisco TAC, and we have all Meraki engineers that will pick up the phone, and if you have something going on with your APs, they'll answer directly on the APs. You won't get transferred over to anybody. And also it includes the lifetime warranty. And then lastly, as far as next step goes, please check out our blog. We have all of our updates on products, new features that come out on our blog all the time. We also as far as risk-free evaluation, if you liked anything that you saw today, we would be happy to set you up on a trial. You can go ahead and click on this link and fill that out and get yourself a trial, or you can contact your Meraki sales rep. Either way, your sales rep is going to be the person that fills out or gets the trial going for you, because this form will go to your sales rep. So if you know who that is, it might be easier to just contact them directly about it. The other thing is, please join our Meraki community. This is where all of our customers come together. They share best practices, share things that are going on with their network, and it's really a community and a conversation where other people can join in and say, yeah, well, with my network, I'm doing this, this, and this. So it's a really great way to see what other K-12s are doing with their network. And you can always ask your sales rep as well to give you references on what other schools in your area are what they're doing with their Meraki network. So that concludes everything that we have for today. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And if you have any additional questions, again, feel free to reach out to your sales rep. And please have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much.